Velkommen alle sammen, welcome back to the channel where we use the actual historical sources to speak about the Vikings and Assassins Creed Valhalla. So I'm doing this video right here, we're watching a bit of gameplay where you can kind of go into an underground fight club. And we see this in quite a lot of other movies and games, and it gives us the impression that the Vikings just like to get drunk and throw fists, and this was their idea of fun. And this is not quite true. As a matter of fact, the opposite is pretty true. Any strike in the Viking Age with a fist or blunt object is regarded pretty much just the same as a strike with an axe or a sword most of the time. Pretty much every example that we see in the sagas that starts with a punch or a kick and some kind of violent altercation, it's usually ended with a fight to the death or a lifelong blood feud. Alright, so here it looks like it shows you the secret place to find the password. In Egil's saga, for example, when Egil was just a kid, he was playing a ball game with a few boys from the village, and then one of the older boys hit Egil and slammed him to the ground in the ball game. Then Egil got pissed off, and he comes back with his brother Turulf, and they both beat the crap out of the guy and kill him. They beat the guy to death just because he, got a little bit rough with him in a ball game. Another example is in Vatnsdæla saga. There was a slave in this story who came and kind of told the bad guy, the village nuisance, to get off of his owner's property. And then that bad guy hit the slave with a stick and told him to get lost, basically. And then the slave's owner came out and tried to kill that guy who hit his slave. And it was a deadly feud between the two families. I forget the names of these guys actually now, but I'll put that up on the screen here. But that was in Vatnsdæla saga. Alright, a little lateral movement there, that's alright. So really, the Vikings were kind of wimpy when it came to strikes. It was regarded as a very, very offensive and disrespectful thing to hit someone, even if it was an accident sometimes. The people paid dearly, dearly for it. Now, this doesn't mean that the Vikings didn't like to get a little bit rowdy with a little competition. We do have records of them wrestling. They definitely did a lot of wrestling, but more common, we find more peaceful games, such as a foot race, a drinking competition, a poetry battle. We have some records of these both in real life and in myths. One of the most famous ones is when Thor and Loki went to Utgardsloke, and they had a wrestling match, drinking, and a foot race against the giants in a competition in that famous story, and I'll make another video about that another time. Also, some more games in archaeological finds. We see a lot of dice and a kind of chess-like game that is called Taffel. So they probably played a lot of these too. We really don't have evidence that the Vikings hit each other with strikes for, friendly banter or roughhousing or for competition purposes. It would be, at the most, it would be wrestling. That was pretty much the only physical combat that they would do for fun. Yeah, this guy is fighting like a pissed off girlfriend. Anyway. We do have some record of women hitting men, and nothing would happen to them in return. The woman would hit a man if she got pissed off or something. But pretty much every time we hear the man just saying, "Oh no, it's okay, I probably deserve that." Even if a woman attacked and killed a man with a weapon, most of the time the men would just take the weapon and disarm her. Hitting or harming a woman was a very, very shameful act that brought lifelong dishonor in the Viking Age. They would call it blöt. If you ever hit someone that was considered blöt or soft, directly translated, then that would bring lifelong dishonor. So if you hit like a woman or a child or a weak man or a slave or something like that, would bring the dishonor for the rest of their life. It was one of the most shameful things you could do. So this kind of fight club thing here is probably not something we could see ever in the Viking world. More than likely it would be an underground secret society of poetry. Funny enough, that's probably what it would be more like in real life. It's a bit wimpy. I can't say I agree with that. I can't say I would have much fun there. I'm Norwegian and have been boxing most of my life and like a friendly scrap. Lots of other Scandinavians today are the same, but the Scandinavians 1,000 years ago would not have been like that. So that's just a funny little story. I'm not super impressed with the combat here, getting distracted, but I just feel like in previous Assassin's Creed games you could actually see and feel the impact when your strikes hit, both with sharp weapons and blunt ones and fists. I just don't, I haven't played this game yet, but it just doesn't, from the looks of it, look like you can really feel the strikes land like you have in previous Assassin's Creed games. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Vi ses nästa gång.
I am honored, I think.